And there are people out there, whether that's Conor Benn or not, there are people out there that are cheating, and this is boxing where men without cheating can put people in hospital and damage people. So with cheating, it just that's the lowest of the low.
Pro boxing fans here in Sheffield, we're none other than Dave Coldwell. I did want to talk to you about a big fight that's been announced in the States in Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. We've talked about this, Dave, so many times in the past where it's nearly been done, not happened. But look, 2023, next month the fight's going to happen. This is as close as I'm going to get to you before the fight. So talk to me, how does that fight play out?
Oh, who knows? That is, do you know what? All it is that is the best fight in boxing for me. Forget every other fight. For me, that is the best fight in boxing. Two unbeaten fighters, both exciting, both can punch, both look for knockouts. It can't fail to deliver. I am glad that it's got done now, because I think if you waited another year, then they're both, probably on the slides, probably hard to say, or a bit harsh, but realistically, in another year's time, probably are. Both men can win the fight. That's why it's so great, and that's why everybody wants to see it. And that's why one person will say that Crawford's going to win, the other person will say that Spencer's going to win. I've always been a Crawford man. I think I've always lent towards him. I think he's got more dimensions to him than Errol Spence. But also the part of Crawford that makes him so exciting is that he's willing to roll the dice and he's willing to take shots. He does take shots. But does that play into Spencer's hands? And Spencer's natural size. But then people that have been in the ring with Crawford say he surprises them how strong he is physically. So I just don't know, but I just can't wait for the fight. I think Crawford. I'm going to stick with Crawford. Although I've had a few. When you hear people talk about Spence and then you watch Spence fight and you think, I think Spence gets to him. But then you watch Crawford, but that's what makes this fight so good. And I think for an advert for the sport, this is what you want.
It is a good fight. I do want to talk to you about a few other fights. Callum Smith going over to Canada against Artur Beterbiev. We saw Artur fight in the UK against Anthony Yard. Great fight that it was. Anthony gave him his best shot, a very good fight, and Beterbiev.
It's one of those where Yard stock rises and it makes you even more of a fan of his. You know what I mean?
Question is, Callum Smith has a task in hand, has a big task, but he's a lot more experienced than Anthony Yard, been in bigger fights than Anthony Yard against Canelo and been in World Boxing Super Series. Do you feel like Callum Smith has it in his armour to beat Artur Beterbiev?
I do. I really do. And you know what? Sometimes boxing is about timing. And listen, Beterbiev is a scary monster. Without a doubt he is. But he's also getting old, and he does get hit, and he's been hurt a couple of times, and he can be hurt early. Callum, you've got to remember, Callum's massive. I know he's coming up in weight, but that frame coming down to super and middleweight won't be as strong as what it will be at light heavyweight at 175. And he's got a very good counter left up. He's got a very, very good left up. And Beterbiev gets it. And I can see Callum beating him. I can see how he can beat him. Listen, you've got to say Beterbiev's the favourite. But if you're asking me who do I actually think is going to win on that night, I'm going to say Callum Smith. I think he's going to pull off the shot. I think timing, I think the experience that Callum's had as well. I think the fact that he's now up at 175. Yeah, and he's got the height, the reach, and I think he wins. I'm going to say I think he wins. I'm not 100% confident, of course, because of Beterbiev, but I do. I think he wins. I think he's very disciplined as well. So even when he has success, I don't think he'll get too carried away and take too many risks, which leaves gaps for Beterbiev's one shot that can take you out.
Just a final question from myself, Dave. Conor Benn's got a new team of people, experts, scientists, and whatever else, and it seems like he's going to be producing evidence for the hearings to UCAD and everyone else, and there's a possible chance of him getting exonerated for his.
You keep saying Eggs.
Exonerated in regards to his case against his drug test that he failed. What do you make of the situation, first of all? And the question for myself to you is, if he does go through this and everything comes out well enough and they provide evidence, will the boxing public forgive him for what's happened in the last year or so?
Genuinely, it's a complete head fuck, right? Because we're on the outside, we don't know the ins and outs, so we don't. All that I know, all that I understood, and all that I was waiting for was this 270-page document that cost hundreds of thousands to get put together by these experts that he'd got. And I don't know where it's gone. I don't know. It never got presented to the board or whatever like that. These things need to be like put in front of the board and done, not reporters or journalists or whatever like that. He's got a new team now, so if he's got a new team and they've found new evidence, then we need to, that needs to be presented to the board, to UCAD, to whoever it may be, to prove that he's innocent. I don't know. Honestly, I'm tired. I'm tired from it. I understand that it's very complex and there's all this and there's all that, but it's like, where does it end, man? There's this strict liability where if it doesn't matter how something's got into you, if you've taken something, you found something, then that's under UCAD, it's strict liability, and so therefore you get a ban. How does your body react to something that you take? My body reacts different to yours, and it shows up or whatever. It's deep, man. It's deep. So where does that then give you give every single fail a get out clause because their body takes something different, reacts differently to your body? I don't know, and I'm not an expert, and I don't, I just feel this has gone on that long that I'm tired with that, and so I'm just like it to be presented to the people that it needs to be presented by in a fair and proper manner, and then they make the call, and then we get to know what's what. Because, like I said, he was months and months ago, he was proved innocent by this 270-page document, which never went anywhere. So I don't understand what's going on anymore.
Is the question with Chris Eubank Jr. any bigger than it was, or do you feel like people are, with what's happened in the last year with Conor, that people might be put off the fight?
No, people still pay for that fight. People are still going to want to see it. It's a massive fight, and that's what the problem is that you have somebody that fails a drugs test, right? Regardless of whether he's proved later to be innocent or guilty or whatever, he's failed 2 drugs tests. Not 1, 2. So does this? I don't know, man. People will want to see that fight because Eubank just got chinned. And then there'll be the Conor Benn comeback story, the Eubank getting chinned and coming back, and the whole how that first fight fell through. This fight just mushroom clouds into an even bigger, massive fight, and so it will happen, and then it's what it is. And then 90% of people will be hypocrites and be moaning and bitching about Conor Benn and everything, and then they'll probably watch the fight. But unfortunately, that's life, and I just don't know. It's very hard to say because my thing was there was something about the WBC coming out with that eggs thing and everything, and it was like, why are they trying to cover up, and are they? And because he was saying that it wasn't eggs, and he was saying that, and didn't they not do a thing where he was talking about his diet and he didn't really take many eggs, but now it is eggs. But if it was a WBC, then I was like, oh, why are the WBC wanting this cover up? Is that them because VADA have made a mistake? Because I think that's what they were alluding, that VADA made a mistake with the testing. So WBC trying to cover up VADA, that needs investigating. But then now it's coming away from that to say, well, no, actually, it was eggs. So I don't know, man.
Fair enough. It is a complex situation. I do apologise for putting you under the mic.
The whole system for this catching and you know, fucking implementing bans and stuff like that, it's just so complex and it's so complicated, and I just don't think it does the sport any good. And there are people out there, whether that's Conor Benn or not, there are people out there that are cheating, and this is boxing where men without cheating can put people in hospital and damage people. So with cheating, it just that's the lowest of the low.
Fair enough, Dave. I do appreciate your time as always.